Hi, John. Good evening.
Hey, sir.
Um, I think I'm. Let me see. Can you hear me, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. I think I've been using the onboard speaker earlier. So yeah, let me see. Okay, where are the I hope they're not confused with the schedule. I think Sherry sent them um the schedule for the classes, including the Saturday sessions. Yeah, let's see. Can you send them a mail, John, or maybe add them to the meeting if you have access to that?
The here is Anisa.
Okay, okay, yeah, good. Hi, Anissa. Welcome to the meeting. Anissa?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. Yep, welcome to the
Okay.
meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was wondering where are the others, so where are the students? So I thought everyone's confused with the timing.
Maybe
So,
so. I set my alarms. I set my whole schedule until August.
oh yeah. So I
That's
asked John
dedication.
to,
I know I'm a
yeah,
newbie here, so I'm trying to, make sure I grasp as much as I can.
yeah. Well, the topics for the first few weeks are not really that hard. It's more about the basics of like navigation in Microsoft Excel. But aside from that, what I want to teach you guys is how to think like an analyst as early as this point in your career. Because I think the other things, like the other skills, you can polish that once you're in like during the role. But yeah, I think the thinking is what we need to develop early on.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anissa, maybe you can first get some coffee or um relax a bit while we wait for the others.
Oh, yes, that's fine. I'm in Georgia, so it's almost noon
Oh, okay.
here.
I see. I see. Yeah. Maybe we can maybe, maybe 5 more minutes. Uh, yeah. John, were you able to send them emails? You're on mute, John.
I will try to send the our schedule on the Discord, sir. Maybe
Okay.
it
Okay.
will notify them since they are already a member of our Discord groups.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. Anissa, maybe we can use the time to uh yeah do some chit chat and accommodate some of your questions if you have any.
Yes, let me open my notes up and try to see. Um, I guess as far as we're in introducing Excel and whatnot, um,
Mm,
I do the last class that you were on, Mr. Jeff, we were
mm.
speaking about, the
Yeah,
jobs and
you can just call me Jeff, Anissa.
oh, okay, okay.
I
um
feel so respected with the Mister.
Well, you
It's not
should
really
be.
my
I mean,
choice.
it is a level of respect, but that's, um,
Yeah, Jeff is
no,
perfectly fine.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. I haven't been in the job field. Like I said, I was a stay-at-home
Mm,
mom for 5 years, and I have been
yeah.
working for a year now in a small office. My goal is to
Mm,
move into project management, and I
mm,
realized that that requires either a education in it,
mm.
or what I'm trying to do, which is like stacking certs and gaining experience at the same time. So beginning with here and like learning these skills, where can I find myself moving? Like, is that a good direction as far as with these skills and whatnot, like data analytics, statistics and whatnot, like, will that help me in that world, in that realm, and progressing that way?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, Anissa. So if you're really planning to pursue project management, currently companies are moving away from requiring uh, a traditional degree.
All right.
So um, they are more focused now into looking um, on the applicant's experience. So aside from the certifications, the experience is actually heavy. So as early as now, you can start like doing projects related to um, let me think. Um, there are certain methods in project management like Agile. Are you familiar with it, Anissa?
No,
Like
I'm
making
not.
sure the tasks are yeah. Let me share this to you. This is Agile methodology is typical in product management. Let me share my screen. And companies are really looking into people that knows this methodology and the other as well related to that. So it's more like categorizing the tasks. So you can think of maybe in your office, you see this board with uh, sticky notes attached to it, and you see those activities lined up.
Right.
Is there something in your office like that?
No.
Oh, I see. So this agile method started in Toyota, and they use this um to make every activity flow smoothly, and they also use this to avoid forgetting any task. So yeah, going back to your question, so I think as early as now, it's better to master this methodologies about project management. This would
Okay.
help you stack on those relevant skills in the area and yeah, gain some experience like volunteering, um, which makes me think if yeah, there's a website in which people are connecting to look for volunteers for certain projects. Sometimes
Okay.
they offer pay, but your goal there is to gain as much experience as possible. So yeah, I think also yeah, stacking the certificate is a good thing. However, again, I will be more focused in really looking for actual skills and
Okay.
actual experiences from actual projects. I
Okay.
think that would give you more edge against the competition. Because if I am a hiring manager, I would give more importance to actual experience as compared to certificates.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll be giving you this list of methods that I think you need um to look at and yeah be familiar of. Does it make sense,
Yep.
Anissa?
Definitely. I'm actually taking notes while you're speaking. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Mm.
answering my question.
And also your advantage of taking this course is that you'll be well versed with how to navigate through data. So it's a plus for them because usually they have this mm, like activities or tasks for improving their processes in the company, in the organization. They have this data they don't know how to analyze, how to extract those insights. So I think this is an edge for you. So there are project managers that don't have any skills in data. So I think it's one good advantage really to have that skill. So yep. By the way, guys, welcome to the meeting. We were just talking about um, project management and what are the things to consider. So yep. How are you guys? I was afraid that you got
Good.
confused with the scheduling, with the timing.
Early Saturday.
Okay, yeah. I hope you got your coffee, and yeah, you can do your breakfast during class. There's no issues with it. So okay. So let's do a quick recapitulation of the things that we discussed the last time. Let me share my screen. I hope you can still remember. So some introductory things that we have discussed before during the introductory session. Let's see, where was it? Yeah, there it is. So the last time we talked about the essence of data analytics. We also defined the sort of what data analytics means. So if someone can remember, can you tell me like the importance of data analytics to an organization? Anyone?
They describe or summarize raw data.
Mm. So
Uh,
yeah,
oh yeah, I have all those
yeah,
notes. That's,
please
I was
go
gonna
ahead,
read that
Anissa. Sorry
out.
to interrupt you. Yeah, they summarize the data set. Um, they put it in a way in which we can easily see patterns, right? So we use these different tools like business intelligence tools like Tableau, Power BI, in order to easily extract those insights from massive amount of data set or massive amount of information. So, yep. How about the others? Aside from that, what do you think are the like important aspects of data analytics to an organization?
I don't know if somebody said it already, but
Mhm.
to make decisions, like to make decisions in a better way.
Exactly. So that's one most important aspect of having a data analyst in your company. They would be giving you recommendations based from the data itself. So those decisions are oftentimes um, yeah, if done correctly, it's unbiased. So it would also give you like the idea of potential risks and what could be done if in case that event that you're avoiding um, turns out. So yep, you can think of this companies, maybe on the very basic level. You can think of a grocery store, and um, in s- in in their inventory system, they would be looking into seasonality and avoid stacking those items that are not um, selling during this time of the year. So they would be avoiding spoilage. Um, Indirectly, they would be avoiding um, unnecessary cost or expenses. They can also maximize profit, right? So these companies, like for example, marketing, notice that they are investing in
Yeah, wasn't there like an example
celebrities.
Target? The Target like
Jeff?
was wasn't there example like
Oh, I think yeah. Jeff, were you saying something?
wait was that? Oh, I was on mute. Huh. I was saying that I wasn't Target like doing the marketing where they were able to figure out which ones of like predict which ones of their customers were pregnant and stuff and were sending like the pregnant like the products that's related to like pregnancy and stuff like that. They were like using data analytics to figure that out.
Yeah, that, definitely. They're doing that. In fact, for example, maybe for items such as that, they can predict like what specific months there will be more pregnancies in a year. So
Yeah,
they
or
would
like
be
their
using that
behavior or something. Like,
information.
it was kind of scary. Like I don't remember the detail, but it was kind of scary. Like they were pretty like it was not 100% accurate, but like they're getting pretty accurate. Like they're guessing like which ones of their customers were actually pregnant and then send them like
Yeah,
advertising.
with the massive amount of data, historical data that they are able to get, they can somehow see these patterns. Like most of the people were born during this month. If they would see this, if they would plot it like
Yeah,
for a span of 100 years, they would see that okay, most babies are born during November. It's because of um how do you call that, February 14th? Oh gosh, I forgot that day. Valentine's Day. So they would observe that okay, people would be yeah, making love during that day, and then after 9 months there will be this um uh yeah, delivery of babies. So at some point because of like this massive historical data, they were able to see it and exploit it to gain more profits. So that's also being done by Facebook as well, but in a more complex way. Like for example, you would be surprised that um, all of a sudden a particular item that you've thought of that you would be buying next week would suddenly appear in your news feed. Maybe at some point you mention about it, and your smartphones and laptops are actually gossiping um, with you unknowingly and unknowingly. So yep, it's just about this tons of information uh, that makes it possible for them to do that. So yeah, and businesses, one of their primary goal is to maximize profit, maximize sales, and minimize cost. So they will exploit that data in order to do so. So any additional ideas, guys, of the importance of data analytics, like maybe in some other areas aside from business, like medicine? How do you think that data analytics is playing a role in transforming medicine? I know some people here are working in that industry. Any ideas in how data analytics is reshaping that field or has reshaped that field? May-
Like there's like I heard like wasn't there a thing where like uh Donald Trump was actually using like we're working with say, like some like UK data analytics firm on like the
Mm,
targeting on like it was kind of like some kind of a advertisement like a targeted advertisement on uh on like his supporters and stuff like that or like except kind of like figure out like what kind of things his supporters will actually like or something like that. It was like
mm.
it was like basically like just using data analytics to figure out like some of the different arguments that he was going to make or something.
We've actually done that in the past. Jeff, I think I know what you were saying. So, for example, we have observed that for a particular group of people, like let's say Republicans, if you look at their profile and their things in common, we would see that they prefer this kinds of things, and based on that, we can do targeted advertising. So I think that's what you're pertaining, right? We can only do that because of big data. So there will be a tagging of these things, and sometimes we also create APIs that track their. Although this is unethical, but this is being done by analytics company. What you post in your social media accounts, like through Twitter or X and Facebook, those are being tracked, and ultimately they would be looking into your political preference, if you prefer Republican or the other, and yeah, they would derive other characteristics as well from it. So yeah, they can do that, Jeff, and they are doing that actually now. Actually doing that. So you can think of so many things that we can
In re-
benefit. Yep, Anissa.
Sorry, I was gonna say in regards to medicine with analytics,
Mm,
um, isn't it useful to be able to predict like outbreaks or things
yes,
like, you
epidemiology.
know, yeah, pathology, endemic,
Mm,
epidemics, those type of things, um, or even like people who are likely to get certain diseases or certain disabilities or things like that just by
yeah,
analyzing.
definitely. Yeah, way back 2020, Anissa. Um, I wrote about the effectiveness of mass testing. So during that time, COVID was um, being discovered, I think sometime around February, and there was an outbreak in Daegu in South Korea. And people were saying that, yeah, the only way to fight this, to contain the spread of the virus, was through mass testing. And the data supported that. So they were really able to contain the spread of the virus during that time because they can easily pinpoint through mass testing. For example, a person um, had a contact with like five different people. So if you think about it, it would be a kind of web of connection. So they did mass testing, and those people that exhibited these symptoms, they were isolated, and that way they were able to contain the virus. and the other countries should have done that also. And the other countries did that, and they were able to um, really contain the spread of the virus. Most of them are these countries in the Scandinavian countries. I think Japan also did it, but Japan is like outlier in the sense that even before the pandemic hit, they were already wearing masks. So in some way, it really made a significant effect in reducing the spreading of the virus during that time. But yeah, that's a great example in how we can, in the case of epidemiology, how we can use data analytics to provide us idea on which is effective, which strategy is effective. So that's a great uh, application. So you can also think of burnout. So I'll be showing to you later this project that I did with researchers from the United Arab Emirates. So we looked into the turnover attachment of medical workers. We developed a scoring method. Well, we actually did not develop it, but we just adapted this scoring method and applied it to medical workers. I think those are nurses in United Arab Emirates. And we had an idea in how is the level of their intention to leave, like what level is their intention to leave because of the several factors such as pay, condition, working condition, and so on. Actually, it's a published work. You can find it online. Let me put down the link here. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I can. Do you still see my screen, guys? So I was
Yes.
pertaining to this published article. So I was one of the co-authors here. Um, yeah. So we looked into factors affecting their turnover and attachment, motive, and we were able to pinpoint like what are the significant factors affecting their intention to stay, intention to leave. Is it something about their gender? Are females more likely to leave? About marital status. We've identified those with higher educational attainment. They have higher intention to leave because usually they they easily get more opportunities as compared to those with lower level of education. So again, we've used data analytics here. I've used the data analytics. I'm the data guy in this project, and I developed this chart. So this red clusters, those are people with high level of intention. And then again, we looked into their demographic profile and then identified that this clusters with high intention of leaving, they have this characteristics. So this is just one way. Again, I think this was cited a couple of times now. I think it was cited like 3 times already. Yeah, it was cited 4 times now by different articles as well. So those kinds of things makes us really uh yeah, it gives us idea in how to um plan, how to develop strategies and avoid um problems. If the problems are existing now, how can we remedy it? So there are so many benefits. That's why I love this discipline so much, because it's just making us really smarter. Because yeah, there's so many things, but I just want to highlight those aspects. So yep, um, let me see. So we talked about this dashboard that we will be creating on the third section, and some figures about the salary. For now, I would say that avoid thinking about the salary too much early in your career. Um, to me personally, salary would I believe that salary would be a high salary would be something to easily come once you have that skill. So don't think about too much regarding salary. And then the skills combo, we talked about that, domain expertise, computer science, and mathematics. These are the things that um, would really make you a good data scientist or data analyst. Now, I think it's best if we proceed to, yeah, this is something that I want to discuss to you. So this is called analytics maturity model. And I think we haven't covered that before, right? We haven't covered that during the introductory session. Okay, thanks for confirming, John. So on your y-axis, you have the value, and on the x-axis, you have difficulty. So as you can see, at the top level, there is prescriptive analytics. So this has the highest value, but this is the most difficult to do. Prescriptive, sorry, prescriptive analytics refer to, okay, you have this prediction, you have this conclusion. So what? What can we do? What can we do to avoid it? Or if we can totally avoid it, how can we minimize the impact to our organization? So aside from analyzing and extracting insights, you would be required to provide recommendations, okay, based from the data. So it would require you to do simulations. Like for example, you have option A, what would be the equivalent um, impact of that? You have option B, and so on. So that's prescriptive analytics. It has the highest value, but it's the most difficult to do. And then we have at the bottom with the lowest value and the lowest difficulty is the descriptive analytics. So you have the data, you provide the summary, it would tell you what happened. So for example, maybe we can think of again a grocery store. You've observed that your average sales is around $200,000, and all of a sudden you observe that yesterday you had sales of $2 million. So if you analyze the data, like records in your grocery, that should answer what happened, and you would identify that okay, Drake bought tons of appliances in your grocery store, uh, and that's the reason why your sales went to 2 million during that day. So it's really answering the question, what happened? Does it make sense, everyone? It's just
Yes.
explaining your or summarizing the data that you have. Okay, and then we have at the middle, diagnostic analytics and predictive analytics. So diagnostic analytics is a process to identify the root cause. Okay, so there are many methods in doing that. Are you familiar with the Ishikawa diagram? This is also being used in project management, Anissa. So it
And
would
I am
be
not
a great
familiar.
thing. Yeah. This is also called fishbone technique.
Okay.
Um, so this is a famous method in identifying the root cause. So there are many classic examples about this. So I suggest you take note. So this Ishikawa diagram is like a fishbone. So you have the effects of the head, and you have this different causes, and you want to pinpoint what is the root cause of this effect. Because once you identify the root cause, it's easy to totally eliminate the effect. Because if you think about it, if you just if you can pinpoint the root cause of a problem, then you'd be mostly applying band-aid solutions to the problem, and the problem would still persist in some
Mm-hmm.
forms in the future. Yeah. And there's also another method called five whys. So this is also one famous method in identifying root causes. So this would ask you multiple whys. Like for example, the problem here is ran through a red light, and uh, you would be answering this question why. So the reason for that is you're late for work. And why are you late for work? You woke up late. And again, another why. Alarm didn't work. So it's not really, well, sometimes you will not end with five whys because you really did not arrive with the root cause. You would be extending that five whys into six whys, seven whys until you can really answer. So the moment that you can really pinpoint, there's a high likelihood that you're already reached the root cause. Does it make sense, guys? It's like extracting all your possible alibis, all your possible reasons to identify the root cause of the problem.
Yes.
This is five whys, and there are others as well. There are so many methods in identifying the root cause. But yeah, going back to this, it would answer the question, why did it happen? Again, it's very important for us, data analysts, to identify the root cause of a problem, because with that, we can prescribe very efficient and very effective solutions. Okay, so suppose you're working for a company and you are a quality officer, and all of a sudden you observe that in your production line, you exceeded the number of defects, and you'll be asking yourself, okay, why did it happen? You looked into machineries, everything's good. So yeah, you need to do those methodologies to identify the root cause of the problem. So it could be about um the raw inputs. So yep, that is diagnostic analytics. And we have here predictive analytics. So this is my area of specialty. Most of my work is on predictive analytics. I developed um, a Philippine Stock Exchange Index machine learning model. I also developed a credit default model for home credit, home credit before. So predictive analytics is forecasting. Like, given that today is cloudy, what are the probability that tomorrow would be raining? So it's more into conditional probabilities. So given that the price of corn is X dollars today, given this demand and this supply, what would be the price n months from now? So we can easily do that with so many methods, so many um, techniques. It would give us like a confidence, a range of values that we can say that is most probable that the the prices of corn would be between these ranges. So it would answer the question, what will happen. So yeah, you can think of many areas that you can apply this. You can apply this in stock prices, in investing. You can you can do this in manufacturing. Like if you're manufacturing a seasonal product, you can sort of based from historical data predict what would be the demand during this months. You can also apply it in the energy industry. Like during summer, you've observed that the peak demand is occurring, so you should have sufficient energy reserve during those times. So yeah, being able to have a glimpse of the future is really a power to any type of organization, and even for a person. We're doing forecasting every day. Um, when you're crossing the street without maybe a street light, you would be predicting whether the approaching car would be reducing speed. Um, what else? Maybe that's a bad example. Maybe I should ask you. Sorry about that. I think that's a bad example. Um, what other things do you think predictive analytics would be very important to do? It would bring so much value.
Knowing what time you have to leave the house to get to work on time.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, you have a party at 9 p.m. and you know that in your area during that time 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's so much traffic, so you'd be allocating some time factoring in the traffic, right? And you have looked out at the window, you saw that it's about to rain, so you'd be factoring it again. And yeah, maybe consider if you would be going to that party, given those consequences, given that traffic and the rain. Is it worth
Could,
it?
it could be used
Whether
in
for
politics as well.
exactly, yeah, with politics, actually, recently I've done a project and we have applied predictive analytics. We have predicted that the likelihood that a certain candidate would win the election. That's in the US. So we did a survey and yeah, we use an API that extracts those tweets, or how do you call it now? This post using X. Still tweets, or we refer to it as just social media post during team meetings. But how do you call it now? I'm curious. Before it was tweet, but now,
That's a good question. I don't know.
yeah, I think
I
the
think
the the term
they still call it tweets, sir,
tweet.
because that's
I see.
the convention before it was
Yep.
changed into X.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense now because you can see uh the bird logo there. So referring to it as tweet doesn't make any sense now.
I
Yeah,
googled it.
anyway,
It's just post. It's called a
a post.
post.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe Elon Musk would be coming up with something. By the way, he's a genius, so maybe he can um come up with something that is relevant to the name of the company. Anyway, yeah. Um, so I'll just give you a copy of this. I will not go through each of the details here. These are just examples, and we pretty much discuss these things. Um, these are just like specific examples for each of this. And yeah, this is something that I think it's important to discuss. Like, what is the difference between a data scientist, a data engineer, and a statistician? So personally, I'm more inclined to this. I'm more as a statistician as compared to being a scientist or a data engineer. I'm definitely not a data engineer. Data engineers, they develop these pipelines of data. They develop these systems that fetch data and put it in a database so that data analysts and data scientists, even statisticians, can easily get those data and analyze them to reveal the insights. So, however, currently in the market, there's a slim difference, and usually they overlap. Data engineers currently are also doing analytics. So, I think that's a bad practice because it's just too much. It's just too much maintaining and developing a good pipeline and also be responsible for analytics. I think that's just too much for a data engineer to handle. And I've seen this documentary about data engineers quitting. So yeah, how about you guys? And any comments about this comparison? Yeah, data scientist sounds sexy, right? If you hear the word data scientist, what comes first to your mind? Anyone? You have the word scientist in there, so you might be thinking, okay, it sounds smart.
I don't know. I picture a white coat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. These are the word, right? But hmm, I feel that the word data scientist should should be not there. But yeah, hmm, well, it could be because we
I
are.
think uh,
Yep,
I
please,
think
Atiba,
data
go ahead.
scientists, mm, they are more into business field.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I'm also thinking that, however, if you go back to the idea of being a being a scientist, right? You're more into uncovering new knowledge, generating new knowledge. So if data scientists would be focused more into the business stuffs, then I think it's not really giving justice to the term scientist. If we will just be used by these companies to maximize their profit, then we are we being really scientists in that regard? I think not, right, Tasiba?
okay. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, no, no. It's just it's an open discussion. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that
It's
you're
it's
wrong.
just my
I'm saying
idea. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about the term scientist, and you're right.
Yeah.
You're right that data scientists currently they are more into businesses, and I'm
Businesses.
just
Yeah.
yeah thinking that that term scientist conventionally these people are using their brains to discover new things, discover knowledge,
Oh,
but
I have
not
an
really into
idea.
profit. Yeah,
Like many times in science, if you have an idea about something, it's formulated into a theory, and so
exactly.
they call that position a scientist because it's bridging the gap between the practical, the business side, and the
Mhm.
data. So it's kind of saying, let's try this test, let's try with this assumption to find X, Y, and Z. And it's in that play in theory that maybe that's why that position is called the scientist.
Yeah, I agree with that. Basically, why we call data scientist or why is there a scientist term in data scientist is because we're still using the scientific method. So we hypothesize based on what we observe, we gather information, we gather data to verify if the hypothesis is true, if there is significant evidence to support it. So we're still doing that. Like for example, again going back to business again, is there an evidence to support that um, say getting a particular celebrity would boost the sales significantly? So in some way, we're still doing that process. However, the end goal is not really to uncover knowledge or generate new knowledge, but to well, maximize profit or minimize cost. So yeah, um, I'm not sure if that's a good thing for you or you're taking it as a good thing, but um, for me, the term scientist is very sensitive, and yeah, currently it's being applied to business stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to have this idea about the differences, the contrasts, and similarities between these very related roles. So if you would ask me, okay, Jeff, what do statisticians do? Um, Basically, statistics, it involves less data. So if you compare um, the amount of data scientists are working on as compared to statisticians, it is significantly larger. The statisticians leverage the idea of distributions and convergence to generalize the results for the population given only a sample. However, all the methods that's being used in data science were just lifted from statistics. So if you want to be a data scientist or even a data analyst, you need to know statistics because it has all the techniques about data. So yep, although statisticians, if you look at the term, if you look at the name, it's not as sexy as a data scientist. So I think several years ago, Harvard said that data science would be the sexiest job, and most statisticians um, they responded negatively. They said that we've been doing those things um, for years now, but they just use this different name for the role. So anyway, that's a subject for um, debate, and I think we should move into Microsoft Excel. So what is Microsoft Excel? I think we are all familiar with it, and I hope you will not get bored. So um, the way I see it, the best thing to do with Microsoft Excel is to look into actual projects. So I have tons of data sets here from my clients before. So I'll just remove um, the columns for identification so that every data point would be completely anonymous so we can use it. Okay. So those data sets that you'll be using in your practices, those would be um, real data sets. Those are not toy data sets. Okay, so Excel is a software that is typically used to store and organize data sets, and it has many features. You can do calculations with it. You can use it as a calculator. You can use it as a way to analyze your data. You can generate graphs from it. Um, it is the backbone of the financial industry. And I don't think any company I don't think of any company that's not using Microsoft Excel or like a different version of it, like a spreadsheet. So I think it's the most efficient way to store information. Any objections? Again, this is an open class. This is an open this is a free class. You can object. Do you feel the same that Excel is the like most efficient way to store information?
I do. I love Excel.
Not the best way to
Hmm.
store, it's the best way to use. Yeah, it's the same thing for me. Like it's most familiar. Like it's easiest to use, I guess. With actually the most function
Yeah.
to arrange, to organize, and everything, or to
Mm.
how you. I guess it's more like how you the best way to manipulate data rather than
Okay.
store. I mean, because it doesn't really store anything. So because
Mm.
I mean, like I even remember before with SQL, like what we usually do is
Yeah.
that we pull the data with the way that we
Mm.
want. Eventually, we will be working on those data in Excel to arrange it on the ways that we want there, or
Um,
analyze the data in Excel after we get it from SQL.
yeah, most people do that. Most people, after they pull the data using SQL, they will be saving it as a CSV or any other format and then do further analysis with it. That's completely fine. Um, I've known people do analysis, like the very basic ones, like basic statistics in SQL itself. Although it's a bit limited, there are some functions that don't exist in SQL when it comes to those statistics. So yeah, that's the typical route. I agree with Jeff. Um, Now going back to the thing that I said, do you think that it is the most efficient? How about the others? What do you think? Anissa said yes, it's the
I
most
feel like
efficient
that's why I like
for.
it because of its efficiency.
Okay,
It's very short and straight to the
okay.
point. You can input really quickly. And
Mm,
honestly, it's also, I think, the most like um, easy to explain to somebody else, So
yeah,
it reduces the complicated factor. So where I might be more familiar with something, if I have to, show somebody else how or what to do, it's kind of easy, if that makes sense.
yeah, I agree with you. Like for example, for someone that's not really familiar with other ways of storing data, like for example, I show them a JSON file, um, that would freak them out, definitely. So with Excel, it's quite um, well, it's very easy to visualize those information in columns and rows. However, yeah, let me look into the chat box. Nia says yes. Hasiba says yes. However, with regards to efficiency, it would be efficient only for small scale, like smaller number of data points. You would observe that as you handle more and more data set, larger and larger data set, Excel becomes inefficient. And
Mm.
especially if you're working on multiple spreadsheets, you would observe that just opening a single workbook would be taking so much time because it would open everything in the process. So in terms of efficiency, it's only true for, again, smaller data points, smaller number of data points. So if you join a company, like for example, a medium to large company, you would see that they're not really using Excel as much in like keeping all of their data. One reason aside from efficiency is also security. So with Excel, anyone with access to that can easily change anything in
Mm.
your records.
Yep.
So there's a there's a high risk regarding that. Do you agree, guys? And it's very hard to pinpoint like what changes have been made, although there are ways. But with SQL, for example, you store it in a relational database, it could be quite difficult to mess things up typically. And you can do targeted queries. You can only select certain subsets of your data. In that way, you'd be more efficient. You'll be disregarding the other parts, thereby it would reduce the pulling time of your data. So we'll be talking about those things in the SQL section. But one thing is, people, well, some people they are calling Excel a database, but in reality, it's not. It's just a spreadsheet. I've been invited to a talk by the National Statistics Office here in the Philippines, and the talk is about Excel as a database. So it's crazy that even the National Office for Statistics they are calling Excel as a database, where in fact it's not. A spreadsheet is totally different from a database. So
Mm.
yep. Um, any questions or any
What's
comments
the
with that?
difference?
Well, in terms of like security access, database is significantly more secure as compared to a spreadsheet. Um, a database can exist, like it can be different from having like rows and columns, like for the case of um, uh, NoSQL, in which the data points are listed down as like a dictionary. So there's so many differences um, with a database and a spreadsheet, and also about the like the size that it can accommodate. There's a significant difference with that.
Got you.
Yeah. For example, we will be using Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio during the second section of the course, and we'll be creating a database locally, so you don't have to pay a subscription. So in your local machine, we'll be creating a database, and we will be communicating, well, specifically a relational database. And we'll be using SQL to create tables in it, um, do targeted queries using different SQL queries. So we will be having more discussions about it. So don't worry. And we have here, yeah, now that I think about it, I think I've seen somewhere in LinkedIn like a good visualization of a database in a spreadsheet. Yeah, I'll be posting that in our group chat once I see it in my local drive. Anyway, let's answer this question. Why should we learn how to use Excel? So first is graphing. Um, although it's not one of the best reason, I feel that the graphing functionality of Excel is primitive. Maybe maybe people would be very upset when they hear that statement. I call that primitive in a sense that first it's not really pretty. If you compare it to the graphing functionality of Power BI or Tableau, it's very primitive. And yeah, it's also limited when it comes to the graph options, like the types that you can create. Um, yeah, that's why I call it primitive. But it's a good place to start creating graphs. Do you agree with me that it is primitive in a sense? Anyone? I think Grace is quiet. Grace, are you there? Do you agree with me that graphing functionality of Excel is quite primitive?
Yeah, it's the OG for sure.
Okay, so um, exactly. I think even before, well, Excel is here first before Power BI. So we should pay respect to the OG. I agree. So, but there are other better options when it comes to graphing. That's what I want to highlight here. Not the best reason, really. Data organization is, I agree, one of the reason to learn Excel because it's really easy to visualize the data set when it's presented in columns and rows. Like maybe I should show you this survey about um, let me see. Thinking about what data set should we use. Oops. Yeah, so sorry to keep you waiting. I'm looking for the right file. Yeah, I think this is a good one. Do you still see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the response. Yeah, so this data set was from my client months ago. So this is about tackling um how financial decision is being affected by self-discipline and other factors as well, like parental socialization. So they've developed this questionnaire that measures this variables through series of statements. And as you can see, it's very easy to look at it. You have the columns for your variables. You have the specific rows for each of your respondents. So this first row refers to the first respondent, second row for the second respondent, and so on. So it's quite easy um, to organize records in Microsoft Excel. So currently, I've converted it into numbers because they used a specific scale called Likert scale for this one, and we will be discussing this, the details of this, as we proceed along. So we will be able to know how to work on surveys, how to analyze data coming from surveys, and how can we use those results of analysis to help the organization decide. There are many uses of survey data. Okay, will there be a break soon? Yeah, definitely. My computer's time is stuck at 10:05 p.m. Not sure why. So it's already an hour. So maybe we can take a 15-minute break. What do you think? So
That's
let's be
fine.
back.
That's good.
Sounds good.
Okay, okay. Let's take a 15-minute break. You can get your coffee. You can do stretching. Go to the bathroom. So we'll see you after 15 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes before the end of the break. Maybe you have questions, and any one of you have questions. Um, or if something was unclear during the discussion. Okay. Are you guys back?
I'm back.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Do you have any questions, anything that you want to discuss or related to the topic? Okay, so I think everything's clear. So we can proceed with the programming. So with much complex tasks, we can actually create macros. However, we can automate things. However, it would not be part of um, this course because it would require us solid foundation with the basics of Microsoft Excel. So, however, it's completely feasible for you to create those um, macros in Microsoft Excel, like automating things. So these are just some of the reasons, and yeah, we have here on the next the practical uses of Excel. So of course, we have data entry and storage, collection and verification of business data, administrative and managerial duties, accounting and budgeting. So we typically use this. So personally, I use Microsoft Excel for my budgeting. So I list down all my expenses and my um, income. So yeah, I personally use it, and for accounting and budgeting, and of course data analysis. So it has a wide coverage when it comes to this, and also reporting and visualization. But again, personally, I feel that there's some other better software aside from Microsoft Excel when it comes to visualization and reporting, and of course forecasting. We can do a couple of methods, time series methods in Microsoft Excel. We can do moving averages, simple moving averages, and exponential moving averages. I think even autoregressive models are available in Microsoft Excel. So we'll be talking about those things as we proceed along. But those are forecasting methods. Okay, anything that you want to add here about the practical uses of Excel, the that you can think of, like in your
I would
day-to-day
add
activity?
the universal. It's very universal, the use of
Mm,
Excel. Like the ease of access and the ease of use makes it very universal versus like trying to share a presentation in Power BI or trying to share
yeah,
some coding. It's
mm,
very well understood by the masses.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So it's pretty straightforward, right? I think Microsoft did a great job of making it really straightforward. So it's very easy to learn. So I definitely agree with that. Thank you very much, Grace. How about the others? What other things do you think um, should be included here in the practical uses of Excel.
Um, I guess it's part of the forecasting, right? Like some of the calculations. I don't know, like it's easy, like if you want to run like regression or stuff like that, or like
Mm.
I think what was the thing that like
Add-ins.
there was this
Jeff?
function I was using that was like you basically you could find a perfect value, or it was the what if
Mm.
part of the what if analysis. Like if you do something like, for example, you have like these different things that you set up, like and then you try to figure out one of the perfect value for X or for Y or
Scenario manager, I think you were
something like
referring
that.
to.
Yeah, like where you're doing the what if, like basically
Mm.
you could rather than try to test the numbers yourself one by one, it actually gives you
Mm.
the most optimal number, like to give you like the like you set restraints or something like that for the different conditions
Mm.
and stuff like that. It gives you like the most optimal number for this one variable or something like that. And I think
Yeah, I think
that's
yeah,
pretty.
I think that's scenario manager. Yeah, Jeff. Like it would give you different scenarios for different values, and instead of doing everything one by one, it would automate the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. That's also practical, but in terms of yeah level, it's kind of advanced. But yeah, especially if let me think.
Like I don't know if other stuff like sequels, I'm pretty sure you cannot do. Like you cannot run calculate. Like probably the calculation stuff is pretty limited, right? Like you can only do certain.
Yeah, you can do a pretty much same thing with SQL, but it would
Oh
require
really?
you to specifically input the figures. Like you can use the case when syntax. However, again, it's not automatic, so you have to specify those values. Um, so it can get really complex, especially if you have tons of different values. Yeah, let me think. Hmm. So I think we have covered everything pretty much everything in here regarding practicality and um yeah that added straightforwardness of Microsoft Excel being easy to learn how to use. So I can think of uh, a particular situation. Uh, yeah, even quick computations, you can use Excel for it. Um, like if you want to show like a quick estimation of something, there are tons of formulas in Microsoft Excel that you can utilize to do that. Like for example, you're presenting to a potential business partner or a potential um angel investor, and he asks you to show some figures and you have to do quick computation. So I think Excel would be perfect for it, like to show an overview of what would be the case, um, given some additional information. So yeah, I think quick computation is one of the practical uses of Excel. Instead of just putting the values in a traditional calculator, it's way easier to follow the steps and to understand how the values evolved with Microsoft Excel. Yeah. So let's move forward. I think I've highlighted the important things in this section, and now creating a workbook. Now, again, I want to know how many of you here um, doesn't have Microsoft Excel in their computers.
I don't have
I
it
think
for this computer actually.
okay, okay. Yeah, for now, I've created this lecture in a way that you can have a visual of the things, and if you have your Microsoft Excel in your computer, you can open it and you can explore it while I show it in this uh slides. Okay. So in creating the workbook, you can choose many templates in Microsoft Excel. So when you open it, it would show you tons of templates. It could be from budgeting, accounting, charts. You can also use built pre-built templates from the internet. You can do that. So in usual cases, you'll be starting with a blank workbook, right? So you would be choosing this one, the first option. So it's just rows and columns, okay? And then we'll be talking about the parts of an Excel workbook. Maybe it would be better if I open my Microsoft Excel here. So my Microsoft Excel is a bit different. As you can see, um, its theme is dark because I feel that it's more comfortable to look at. I'm not sure if that's the case, if that's the same on your case, but I feel that um, it's it's less painful as compared to having like the usual white um, like overall. Um, is that the same for you? Like in a computer screen, it's less painful to look at with
I mean, it
this
looks cooler.
darker thing. Yeah, that's the reason also why most programmers they have this a dark theme because it's less straining in their eyes. So you can change that easily by going to I think the settings here. Should be somewhere in this option. So once you go here, this file tab, you can see this option at the very bottom, and then I think you can change the theme in this office theme section. You can put it to white. Again, I'm not comfortable with this. I think this is the default one. I don't like it because it's putting so much strain on my eyes. So if you're already working with tons of data set, you'll be burning so much time in front of your computer, and you want to have this theme that is less straining, um, less straining to your eyes. And for me, it's the black theme. So you can change it that way. And yeah, there are so many options that you can see at the top, but you'll be using, you'll be clicking um, just like specific things. The orders are not really being used typically. So there's a specific section in the home tab for your font and font size. So I think you're familiar with it. Um, changing the color of the cells, changing the color of the letters, some very basic stuffs. Adding borders, so you can do it in here. You can italicize. You can make the letters or numbers bold. put underlines, and you can also change the alignment, the direction of the text in this section. So yeah, in this, the type of the input, it could be of several types like number, currency, accounting, could be dates. So you would see this again with Power BI. So since Power BI is also a product of Microsoft, you would see that there's a similarity between what you can see in these tabs, in this different tabs in Microsoft Excel, as with Power BI. And we will be slowly trying all of these things as we work on um, the examples. So let me go. Any questions, guys, before I move back to the slides? So some other very straightforward things like inserting a cell that you can actually do even without clicking on it. So there are options here once you click. Once you do a right click, there would be similar options that you can find. Um, so, yep, any questions with any of these things that you're seeing right here? There are add-ins as well, guys. Like for example, maybe in your Microsoft Excel you don't have this analyzed data. So this is an add-in. Um, so we'll be talking about those. We can add solvers. We can add an option for the data analysis and also for other things as well. So was everything clear for this home tab? For the insert tab,
Yes.
okay, okay. Yeah, I don't want to bore you with this. I think most of you are familiar with what you can see in this section, but let me think. Um, yeah, for like auto summations and other statistics, you can see it at the section. The location could be different depending on the version of the Microsoft Excel that you have, but the options are almost the same for like um most like the two most recent version 2016 and 2019. Yeah, so there are also filtering options here that also exist when you hover to the cells and do a right click. There's also an option for that. There's an option to delete all the formatting, delete everything. So pretty much straightforward. Again, um, Microsoft did a very great job in making this really self-explanatory in a way. Okay. So when you go to the insert tab, you will find here so many things like inserting a chart. We'll be talking about pivot table next week. Like how would you take advantage of this functionality in summarizing your data, particularly categorical data sets. And you can insert a table. You can insert this different shapes and symbols. Can insert equations and so many things here. Some other things you can just copy and paste it in the cell. So yeah, typically in the insert here, um, you'd be most of the time inserting charts and pivot tables as a data analyst. Page layout, I don't usually mess up with this. You can adjust the size in here, the themes, and so on. So just a matter of preference. Grid lines, yeah. I think all of this here is just a matter of preference. And the formulas. So yeah, I think we should go back to the slides, and I prepared something that is related to the formulas. So these things, you don't need to memorize them because uh, it's just experience. Once you once you work with a certain software for some time, you get used to it. It's just automatic. You can easily find things. So yeah, let me think. So this is one thing that I want to highlight. Spreadsheets are made up of columns and rows, which are referred to as cells. Okay, and in those cells, um, you can input a formula, you can input a text, you can input um, you can change the color. There's so many things that you can do with this cell. So a single cell is an individual block where each block has its own name. So those names will be referred to using the columns that you see. So for example, if we go back to this spreadsheet that we have in here, this would be column A and row 2. So it is, why is it showing? I don't know. Yeah, this one. So this is column A and row 2. We go down, that would be still column A and row 3. So this name would be very important for us, especially if we're doing calculations. So there are different types of referencing in Microsoft Excel. So particularly absolute and relative referencing that we will be discussing later. So, yep. Any questions, guys, about this things? Okay. So, what is a range? A range is a group of cells which are next to each other. You can also name ranges. So, for example, I have here, maybe let's start with a fresh one. So we can create a range here. So this would be from A1 to C1. And you can also change uh, the name of the range. You can even change the name of the cell. For example, I would be naming this as Jeff. So whenever I refer to Jeff, it would be referring to this cell. Okay. So sometimes in your computation, it's confusing to or it's not easy to remember the like the actual column letter and row number, especially if you're working with a relatively large data set. So it's better if you put the actual names so that when you input that in the formula, you can just immediately refer to that, and it's it's just speeds up the writing of the formula. And that's actually my practice. Typically, I just change the name of that cell so that I can easily refer to it. And yeah, what other things? And yeah, the ranges typically are joined by the colon. So for example, here, suppose that we have say 1, 2, 3. If you would be referring to okay from D1 up to F1, it would look something like this. As you can see, there's a column in between. So it specifies that it is a range. Do you follow, guys? Do you follow the idea with range? Okay, okay. These are just very basic things. So we'll be slowly building on the complexity. And I'll be introducing to you some of the formulas that most likely you already know, but I will be highlighting like the process in which Microsoft Excel is doing the computation under the hood, like what's going on when you get the sum, if you multiply, and what happens if you do a calculation that of a similar level. How does Excel do the computation? So yep, yeah, making your workbook pretty. I think again, this is a matter of preference. You can change the height, of the cells. You can change the width. So um, yeah, there's a difference between uh when you're outside the cell and when you're inside the cell. So when you're outside the cell, there will be different options, right? But once you're inside the cell, again, there's a different option because you'll be Excel will be expecting you to input something. So there's a main difference in there. Usually, when you're outside the cell, it's more about formatting and stuff. Okay, I think I've included here somewhere. There we go. Yeah, I think yeah, I've included it here. So in a cell, double click, you will see a cursor that detects characters on a cell with outline the cell, edit entire cell content. So it's basically more about editing once you're outside the cell or on a cell. And let's see, maybe we can record our names here. Anissa, this is in order of how I see your names in the meeting. So Hasiba, Nia, and then Grace. So I'll be asking you. Let me see. Maybe I skipped someone. Um, how do I do it if I want to say change font, the font style to Times New Roman? How would I do that? Can someone dictate the steps to me?
Go to your home tab.
Okay, go to the home tab and
Highlight,
then
select the
right.
ones, the cells. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, again, this is just like a very basic question. So you can search for the um font style here, right? So you have Times New Roman here, so you can just hit enter and everything would be changed to that. And you can adjust the font size depending on yeah your need. Now, let me see. What if I want to adjust um the row height into a specific number or to a specific number? How would I do that? There are multiple ways to do that actually, but I want to solicit your ideas from you. Again, I want to adjust the row height to a particular number. How would I do that, guys?
You can go to the page layout,
Okay, go to page layout
um,
and
and then you could pick specifically in the height section uh, the number
here.
you want. Yeah.
Currently, it's automatic, right?
Mm.
So, um, should I choose one page or two pages?
Uh, Depends.
Let's try one, two pages. Let's see what would happen. So I think it gives us this thing. This will be page one and page two. I think my question was a bit confusing. So I was pertaining to the row height here, like of the
You
actual
can
cell.
right click the row.
Okay, right click the row and then
Go to row height.
row height. Okay. So yep, with the specific row height, you can just right click on I think any of the row and then or any of the highlighted anything that's highlighted would be included in the changing, right? So I can adjust it to 8, and as you can see, it became bit uh, shorter in terms of height. And similarly, we can go to this and we can change the column width, right? So we can make it wider. And Usually, what we do is we just double click once this dark cursor appears. Once you hover to the border of the cells, it would appear, and when you double click on it, it would immediately adjust the width and the height of the rows and the columns. Do you follow, guys? Does it make sense? Again, these are just very basic stuffs that most probably you already know. Um, but sometimes, uh, yeah, it's very easy to forget how to make like the column widths and the row heights equal because the input should be of different sizes. What if, for example, I have a very lengthy input in here, like yeah, what do I do in order to show everything in that cell without clicking on it and looking at this section right here? Like I want to see it even without clicking on it. How would I do that? We have
It,
to,
like in that cell, or
yeah, yeah. Basically, what I want to see is the row height to be adjusted in a way that, or even the column width to be adjusted so that I can see every input of that cell, like the entirety of it.
is this where you can do like the wrap, or is it
Exactly,
okay?
exactly. So we need to wrap this particular cell and um should appear in the right click. Okay, it's not showing. Maybe I'll the view. Okay. Um, where was it? Uh, Format. What's the wrap option? Should be in here. I don't see it. Should be in the home tab, right? Should be somewhere
Yeah,
here.
it should be.
Like, but I'm not seeing it for some reason. It should appear immediately once I click the home tab.
Exactly.
Yeah, can you check your Excel if it's the same? Uh, Definitely it should be it should be in here in the cells option, but
Oh, it's right there, right next to alignment.
Is it because you're
huh.
inside the cell that you
No, no,
cannot
no.
find?
I'm just on the cell. If I
So
go
at
inside the cell,
alignment above the margins and like the very top tab, that ABC is the wrap. Over?
I think this is the orientation, like
No,
the
next to
angle.
that. Next to that.
Ah, okay, okay. There we go. Thank you very much. Who was that? Was that uh sorry,
Anissa.
I wasn't able. Okay, Anissa, thank you
Sorry,
very
my
much.
dog is.
So yeah, there it is, the wrap text. So it would allow us to adjust the column
Loves my
and
doorbell.
the width. So yeah, usually
They
the word
usually used to
wrap.
write the word. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was surprised that um it's ABC. Usually I see the word wrap. Maybe
I would have gone
I'm not
to the
sure.
corner button on the top left of the chart and then
Okay,
like as a form of control all and then double click the vertical line between A and B, a double click
okay.
to do an auto fit.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
also do
I
that.
would have done
Yeah.
that one.
In fact, if I'm doing it, I will not be looking at the wrap text option. What I will do is just I'll adjust it until the until everything shows. So there are things like that in Microsoft Excel, especially with how things are being presented. There are options here that you don't usually use because there are other ways to do it. So for example, that thing of like wrapping the text, you can accomplish the same thing by adjusting immediately the sizes of the rows and columns of the actual cell by hovering through this and dragging it to the side. So yeah, again, it depends on you. So yeah, let me see. Let's go back to this. Okay, what are common functions? So can you give me like the functions that you can remember in Microsoft Excel? Sorry, excuse me.
Count, some
Count. Okay. And then sum. What are the else? So we have count. We have sum. What other else can you remember?
maximum, minimum.
Maximum, minimum. So those typical statistics, right? Now, here's my question, and I think this is the most important thing to understand whenever we work with Microsoft Excel. I want to ask you, um, how do you think is Excel doing the computation if it encounters parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then
Average.
addition first and subtraction. Yeah, of course there's also average. Thanks Asiba for the common functions. Average is actually the mean, right? So in Excel we refer to that as the average. So again, let me go back to my question. Uh, what do you think is Excel doing when it encounters a parentheses in a formula? Like for example, here say, hmm, I'll be getting the sum. Okay, like the formula would be this. I'll be getting the sum of a certain range, say A1 to say D5, and then I'll be dividing it by the count of A1 to say D5 again. How does Excel do the computation? What is the process? So you see right here different mathematical operations. You see division, you see addition. So you see addition, you have um, division, and then we made use of parentheses. Is this something familiar to you guys? Like this list?
Would it do
Not
like
really?
order of operations?
Exactly, order of operations. That's what I want to hear from you. So basically, with Microsoft Excel, it starts the computation from left to right. Okay, so it's starting from here all the way down or all the way to the right. That's the sequence. However, there's a there are different levels when it comes to the order of operation. So everything inside the parentheses would be run first, and then after that, the exponents, and then after the exponents, the multiplication and or division, and lastly, the addition and subtraction. So you would observe that there are computations that would spit different results. Maybe we can create an actual example of that. Maybe yeah, let me remove this. Say I think 1, 1, 1, and then 3. So suppose we'll be first getting the sum of A, B, and C, and the sum should be multiplied to the value in column D. So typically, what we would be doing is that A1 plus B1 plus C1 times D1, right? What do you think is the wrong or the what do you think is the issue with this?
You have
Anyone?
to group which ones you want to do first.
Yeah, you need to specify first because if you don't do that, then Excel would be referring to the order of operation. So in this case, which should be done first? We know for a fact that the computation starts from the left to right. However,
It would
it's still
multiply
considering the
first.
order of operation. Again, sorry guys.
It would multiply first.
Exactly. So if you observe the result, so what's happening right here is it's multiplying first the value in D1 with C1, so that would be 3. And now the quotient, or rather the product would be added to the values in your B1 and your A1. Is that the case or not? Can anyone explain to me the correct sequence? Or is it this way? D1 would be multiplied to C1 and
And
A1
then
would be
added
added
to
to
A1 and
B1 and
B1.
added
Yep.
to the product. Exactly. So once Excel finished the level of operation, it would then follow the usual sequence from left to right. So you would observe that you will get a very different answer if you add parentheses, and I want you to tell me why we would be observing a different result from this.
The parentheses make you do what is in the parentheses first, and then
First.
you
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, what if we apply commutativity in here? Say we change the order. Say we put the D1 first here and then multiply it by the sum of this sorry, of this values. What do you think would be the result of this? Does it
Mm,
matter? Will it change anything if we change the order from having the parentheses on the left or first and then followed by the multiplier D1? Would it be something that would result to a different product? What do you think?
yes. You would still
Why?
do the parentheses first, and then you would multiply D1 by what's inside of the parentheses, which
Okay, so
would,
so
So it shouldn't
yeah,
change.
it's
exactly. Very
3.
good.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I thought the number.
Yeah, it would be 3 times what?
Um, 3 times 3, so it'd be, yeah,
It would still be
it's
9.
same.
In
Yeah,
fact, yeah, one property in mathematics about multiplication, it's
moving it
commutative.
around. Hmm.
Yeah, if you move around the position, like 5 times 9 is equal to 9 times 5. It's actually
Hmm.
commutative. Changing the position would not actually change the result. It's the Well, it Microsoft Excel actually adapted that rule, that property in mathematics. But here it's basically because of the parentheses. So what's inside the parentheses would be run first, and then Microsoft Excel would be looking from left to right. So in this case, D1 multiplied to whatever sum you have inside the parentheses. So the result would still be the same. So it's very important for us to know how to position the parentheses, because the positioning would result to different figures depending on the operation that you have. Okay, so that's something that I want to highlight with the formulas in Excel, because again, you don't have to memorize any formulas here. Um, they're very straightforward. If you want to get the sum, just the sum, and then input the range, as simple as that. You can get the sum. Also, what you can do is you can go to the although I don't advise you to do so, you can go to the formulas, and there are options here for the auto sum, auto average, but basically they would be applying the same formula, so it would just give you the same thing. Okay, guys, do you follow?
Yes.
Okay, now, yeah, let's dive in deeper. Um, we know that sum is just adding the values. Uh, what is average doing?
Taking
Like,
all of them, adding them.
hmm,
Oh, you want the actual
can,
process? Sorry.
yeah, you can just explain what's yeah, um the computation
You add it up and divide
behind.
it by how many, sorry, my terminology is not so great right now. How many, the number of how many things you added up and then you divide it.
Okay, yeah. Basically, in general, the number of observations that you have, right?
Mm.
So, the mean, as we call it, the average, is just adding up. We use the summation notation, right? All the numbers from the very first up to the very last. Um, so we typically use this formula for it. We divide it by the number of observation. So this is just equal to saying that, okay, add everything from the very first observation up until to the last, and then divide it by the count, or the number of observations. So this is pretty much the idea about it. I want to ask you, what do you think is the problem or the weakness of this um, formula? Anyone?
Not very accurate if you want to pinpoint
Yeah,
something.
why? I want to ask why. Why do you think that it's not very accurate?
Because of large or small numbers being able to change, the ultimate. Mm,
Results figure.
yes.
Perfect. I love that answer, Anissa. So you might wonder why salaries are being reported not through the mean, but through the median. Like, typically countries would be reporting their the salary in their countries through the media, not by the mean. It's because of
Mhm.
that. You got it perfectly. So as you can see in here, if this value is very large, the tendency is it would pull towards it the value of your mean. So to put it simply, the mean is easily affected by extreme values. That extreme value is what we call outliers. Okay. So you should be very careful in interpreting and using the mean while it is very comfortable to solve and um, and use, there are so many issues with it, especially if your values are really fluctuating. Um, it won't really capture the centrality of your data. So yeah, that's the main reason why salaries are reported using the median. So the median is something that we will be talking about um, in some section of our discussion. But going back here, it is something that you would see in here. How about the max? The max is just the maximum, and the min is just the minimum. Now the count is just currently this count would just count the number of observation, the number of items, as simple as that. But there are variations of this, like say you only count if you encounter a number of one. We can do that. So that would be count if. We'll be talking that sort of conditional aggregation in the next meeting. So for now, I lost track of time. It's already past the lecture session. For the lab session, I think John will not be able to accompany you, but you can do it in your own. I want you to check on my GitHub. Have you set up your GitHub, everyone?
No, I
Are
was
you able
thinking
to
we were
set
going to
it?
do that today.
Yeah,
No.
let me share the link to you. GitHub.
Were we just supposed to set it up and then add you, or was there more to that? Because I set up an
No, no, no.
account, but that's all.
Yeah, I think I've seen you followed me, Ilham, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen this IDEA
Yeah.
repository? You can actually
Let me
download
check.
these things. You
Okay.
can also click on this section where I post the link of the recordings. So you can just copy this and paste it in your web browser. It would redirect you to the YouTube channel in which all of the recordings would be uploaded. And for the session today, I want you to do these challenges 1 and 2. So this is for Excel formula. So basically, the idea of this challenge is to test your understanding of the level of operation. So remember the thing that I've shown you earlier. This, um, why is it showing? Apologies. Yeah. So remember that parentheses, anything inside the parentheses is being run first and then followed by exponents and multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. Before we dismiss, guys, let me ask you this. What if you have a case in which there is both multiplication and division in your formula? How do you think Excel would do the computation? Maybe, yeah, let's do A1 plus B1 minus C1. So as you can see, all of these are of the same level of operation. Addition and subtraction, they're of the same level. Multiplication and division. Basically, those proper operations in mathematics are the converse of each other. It's just reversing the process. Product, quotient, sum, difference. So basically, you can think of it as just one thing, but being done in like in reverse. So here, guys, what do you think is happening, or how do you think Excel would do the computation? Anyone?
Would it just do it from left to right then?
Exactly. So if the level of operation is the same for any of your inputs in your formula, then it would just follow the sequence from left to right. Now let me ask you this. Suppose that we do parentheses here, and you have addition and subtraction here. What do you think would happen? How would Excel do the computation?
parentheses first and then addition.
So it would be parentheses first and then um
Then left to
addition.
right.
Left to right, exactly. Now, are you familiar with the property of associativity in mathematics? Um, do you agree with me that if we change the groupings, if we change the position of the parentheses, the result would still be the same?
Can you explain
What
that
do you
more?
think? Yeah, if for example, yeah, we have this formula, right, in which the parentheses is for B1 and C1, the difference of those two numbers. Now, what if I change um, the parentheses and instead of putting it for B1 and C1 is I change it for A1 and B1? What do you think would there be a difference in the results?
It depends.
Okay, it depends. Maybe you're thinking, okay, Jeff is just tricking us because he has this different values. But as you can see, we can change these values. Let's see. Um, yeah, how do we generate random values here? I'm thinking about the R formula, R norm. Oh, was it R norm? Wait,
Run between.
between. Yeah, yeah, it should be between. Ran between. Yeah. Maybe 5 and 10, so that we won't be. Yeah, let's do it over and over again. Do you observe what's happening? Let's highlight the cells. I want to highlight this property of mathematics, particularly with addition and subtraction. As you can see, even if we change the values, so it's not a case-to-case basis. If we change these values for addition and subtraction, associativity holds. That is, even if you change the grouping of the values, the results would still be the same. Do you follow, guys? Do you think that property would hold for multiplication and division? We have seen commutativity with multiplication in the sense that x times y is equal to y times x. But would it still be the same if, say, x times y times c, or yeah, it should be z, not c. Would it be the same if we do y x z, for example, or y z x? Would it still be the same for the case of um,
I think
multiplication?
since like 2 times 4 and 4 times 2 is the same, but when you do 2 divided by 4 and 4 divided by 2, it's two different answers.
Okay,
So it
okay,
wouldn't be.
yeah. That's a great example. But here, I'm not really applying the property of associativity yet. I'm just actually applying commutativity. Let's uh let's have a concrete example. A1 times um B1, and then we put a parentheses, this one, like this, C1, and we copy the same, just change the thing, the position of the parentheses, maybe apply it to um yeah, this. Okay. So as you can see, it would just be the same for the case of multiplication. All the values would be the same, similar as we have observed for the addition. However, for the division, what do you think? Any ideas from the group? Would it be the same if we apply the same thing for the division?
Negative.
Negative? It won't work. It won't hold. Are you sure? Like, can you give me an example in which the values, the resulting values would be different if we change the groupings?
We're talking in the case of division, right?
Yep, exactly, exactly.
Right. So like 2 times 3 times 6, you rewrite that 3 times 2 times 6 is the same. But if you're going to do
Mm.
2 divided by 6 and then rewrite that, you get a different quotient.
Okay. Um, yeah. First, let's talk about, yeah, I think I'm going over time here, but maybe give me couple of minutes. Like for example, how do we change the associativity or the groupings, the parentheses that we assign when we're doing division? Like for example, we want to divide A1, say by B1. Okay, A1 and B1, and then let's see. Yeah, I think it's not possible with only three values. Let me think. Like a very good example for this using actual values that we have. Suppose that we have a multiplier with B1, say, um, let's think of it this way. X divided by Y. Um, and suppose we have a grouping here, X plus Z. And then we have, say, plus K. Let me think. Let me see the chat box. Oh, Neil left couple of minutes ago. John says AB1. Let me think about this one. The first grouping is A1 B1 divided by. Yeah, I think this would be better if we view it using paint, right? I think it's not easy to look at it. It's not very pretty. But are you getting the point that I'm raising here? I'm not just murmuring just to have like um I want to highlight the importance of knowing the level of operation that this formulas are using, and also the properties because they hold for um like for each of the sequence that we have. So let's say we have A1 right here divided by B1, one group, okay, and then we divide it again by C1. Is it equal to A1? Let's see, equal to A1 divided by B1 C1. Do you think you would still get the same quotient from this, guys? What do you think? So basically here, the denominator of the numerator would be the denominator. So this would be a multiplier of the denominator, right? The B1 would then be multiplied to C1. So this would be A1 divided by B1. You can rewrite it this way. And this is equal to A1 um, B1 times 1 over C1. So this would be A1 times the product of B1 and C1, right? So the denominator of the numerator would be the denominator. So it would be a multiplier of the denominator. So it's just similar to saying this would be multiplied to this. Now, if we look at this, is it the similar case? Let's see. Do you still follow, guys, of what we're trying to accomplish here? We're validating if um, associativity for the case of division still holds. So let's see. So this one would be the reverse of this. So in this case, it should be the denominator of the denominator would be the numerator. So it's just simply saying that okay, if you this if you do this exact same steps, this would just be equal to saying multiply A1 by C1, right? And divide it by B1. So you can, as you can see in here, you would be observing different results if you do that. So in short, associativity doesn't hold for um, division. Do you follow? So we're avoiding here issues, especially when you do complex computations, because sometimes Excel would spit you results. However, it's always better to look at your formula again, how you set up your parentheses, and make sure that they are on the correct places so you won't avoid committing errors. Do you follow, guys, with what we have in here? Again, I'll be giving you maybe a minute to process everything that I've written in this canvas and maybe ask questions.
So association works for addition, subtraction, and multiplication. If you move around the numbers, you're still going to get the same results, but not for division. And you have to be
Yeah,
careful
exactly.
when handling it in Excel. Okay.
Yes. Once you switch, guys, once you switch the position of the parentheses, always be mindful that in some operations, particularly um division, it will not hold true that you would get the same answer if you like change the groupings. Okay, it would be the same as with the addition and subtraction as we can see in here, but that would not be the same as when we um do it with division.
I thought
Okay.
that I thought that the associative property doesn't work with subtraction. It
Um,
does.
let's say,
Just to
let's
clarify.
create here. Yeah. Let's say maybe I'm wrong, but let's check if yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Let's verify. So let's say we have a minus a1 minus b1. Okay. I see the problem now. Yeah. Would it be, let's say the grouping is this. Um, we have here minus c1. Now, what example did I do earlier? Did I do the subtraction or just addition? Ah, okay, I see. Yeah, let me create a new one here. Would be faster if I do it here. Maybe let's consider a1 minus say b1, and then consider as one group, and then subtract it with c1, right? Would it be the same if we change the grouping to say, oops, sorry, the same if we change it to from A1. Yeah, you're correct actually. As you can see, it's the property of associativity doesn't hold also with um with subtraction, as what we're seeing here. If we change the values, once we change the groupings, then it would also change the values, but not with addition and multiplication. Yeah, that's correct. My mistake earlier. I thought I've used yeah, in this particular case. Let me see.
I think those formulas worked initially because your N1, N2, and N3 were all values of 1. And
Okay,
so these,
even here, even without, it would still be the same. It would still hold for these two values. I think it's because,
oh yeah.
right, let me say, let me think for a while here. So we're
It's because
getting the
of
sum. Sorry.
maybe because of the distributivity of the negative sign there.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm thinking, that here we are distributing um
Positive sign. So there's no effect at
yeah,
all.
this would be a positive value or could be a negative value depending on this, but this would change depending on whether this value is negative or positive. If it's positive, then it would still be plus. However, if the C1 is greater than the B1, this would automatically be changed to negative, and it's not a problem. And pretty much the same thing as with this, because, sorry, the other one. So since this is automatically a positive value, then um, I think we can work around this if we change the value of C1. Like let me play with that. Let us make C1 a very large value, say 30. Yeah. So yeah, it's distributing the negative sign. Yes, that's what it's doing here. So this would be carried out if this is a very large value, but if it's not, then it would be a positive value. That's why we're observing it as such. Okay? Do you follow, guys? So remember that here, if this is a very large value, very large negative value, it would make this sign a negative, right? If B1 is less than this, it's not a problem for us. Pretty much what's being done if we consider this case. That's why it has like a mirror effect. Do you follow? Does it make sense? Right? It's like, how do you call that? Algebraic expression, right? John? I think it's an algebraic expression. Can we create a counter example for this using only these values? I think not. If it's lower, it would be a positive. If it's bigger, then it would be an automatic negative outside the grouping. So it won't really affect the result. Do you follow, guys? The logic. So if this is a very large value, the negative sign would be applied here, so it would be outside the grouping. Do you follow? I think John added something here. A minus B. Let's
Same
see.
scenario, sir, but it is much clearer that on the first scenario, A minus the grouping of B plus C is clearly different from the second one, A minus B plus C. Because on the first
Yeah,
case, the negative sign will be distributed to B and C.
yeah.
So
Let's do it manually so that everyone can see it and it will be clear. Promise, this will be the last. Okay. I hope you're still good. Are we still good, guys? Or
Yeah, still here.
okay, okay. Yeah. I'll make this step by step. Let's see. So this would be what it does is we can distribute actually the negative sign in what's inside the parentheses, right? So what we can do in here, this is equal to saying that A minus B minus C,
minus C. Okay.
right? And then let's consider another case in which we have A minus B. This is inside the parentheses plus C. Okay, so this is exactly like adding well, in fact, you can imagine it as having like a one multiplier on the other side. So it would be um, like distributing the value of whatever value you would get from here. Does it make any sense, everyone? No, it doesn't make sense. Okay. I I want to make sure that the idea was clear.
Yes.
Yes, it does make sense. I
Okay,
mean, I
okay.
just have to
Yeah,
think
no,
back to high school because I remember
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
definitely covered this in high school.
I'm
Uh,
I'm not making things difficult here for you guys. I just want to highlight the effect, the potential effect that you would encounter with the changing of the groupings using the parentheses and how the level of the varying levels of operation is being used in Excel. So that's just one thing that I want to highlight here. I don't want us to go back to the different properties in mathematics, but it just happened that those properties are actually um, being applied in here. So the property of associativity, the property of commutativity. Um, so yeah, but the ultimate point in here is to be very careful when you apply the groupings. Okay, when you apply the groupings in your formula. That's what I want to highlight in here. So I don't want to make things complicated. Of course, in actual work, you won't be showing this to your boss because definitely you will be in trouble. Uh, so I just want to dive in deeper to explain things in a very detailed way. You most likely discuss this in academia when when yeah you want to dive into the very details of it. So yeah, make sure that the groupings are on point when you write your formula because this formula is in Excel. Currently, it's as basic as adding values, but as you compute for more complicated things, it tends to be very lengthy, and those parentheses would give you so much headaches. So at least now you know the level of operation and how the changes in the groupings would potentially affect your results. Do you follow, guys? The thing that I want to highlight. Okay,
Yes.
again, yeah, it's not my intention to make your life difficult in any way. So yep, going back to GitHub. So with GitHub, what I want you to do is download this challenge files. So this challenge files that maybe John, did you give them the link to my GitHub? Yeah, I'll put it in the box. So in this GitHub, you would see the repository for this IDA course. Once you click on that, you would find these challenges for today. So there are two
I
challenges.
just created a GitHub. How do I add that? I just have a
Yeah,
dashboard.
yeah, you can create a repository, Grace.
Great.
When you go back to your home page, you would see there an option to create a repository. You can create a new repository and you can dump files in there. So once you have downloaded these files from GitHub, um, you can upload the files in your repository for future reference. But you still need to submit it to John because John will be checking your work. Okay. So this is just one way for me to familiarize ourselves with GitHub. I'm not a fan of
Which challenge?
GitHub.
Challenge one? Is it that's
Both.
the one you want us to work on? Both. Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah, it's just simple. Let me show it to you.
Wait,
Um,
how did I get to your GitHub page?
uh, you
Yeah, I have
can
the
click
same
on the link
question.
in the chat box. Um, Grace and Jeff. Once you click on that, you can see the public repositories that I have, and you can
Okay,
have
got it.
access to the files. Yeah. So this is something new. Um, again, as I was saying earlier, I'm not a fan of GitHub. I mostly put my projects in my CV with the link. But the administration found out that one of the interviews that our students had, they required the, the the company required them to have a knowledge of GitHub. So I think it's a good practice that we incorporate it early in our discussion. So in order for us to familiarize ourselves, I'll be dumping these files in here. I've used GitHub before. I just feel that um, yeah, how should I say this? Mm, to me, adding just like a link to my project would be more straightforward. But it seems that companies are really into using GitHub. So we should do the same to be to have that sort of qualification. I've also added the recordings. In the future, the codes that I'll be using, particularly in SQL and Python, those will be posted in here, and you can immediately run those codes in my GitHub. You can create a copy of my repository. That would be perfectly fine since this is a public repository. You can copy everything so that you have a reference to everything that we have in the course. Okay. So yep, I think
Are we
we
gonna
went over.
be able
Yeah.
to get some help for this? Because I'm on GitHub and I'm creating a new repository, and the only link I see on the chat is the spreadsheets versus databases. So I don't think I'm looking in the right place for this.
Uh, yeah. Can you click? Once you have created your account, Grace, you can click on this. Uh, Let me see. I think you did not see this one. Let me update it. Do you see it now, Grace? You can also share your screen so that we can help you do this step by step.
So once we have the challenges, we could just do it and submit it to John.
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are total 2 challenges, right?
2 challenges, exactly. So you need to create a repository name, Grace. Is Grace sharing her screen?
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Add a name, whatever name you want to add to it. Maybe
Okay.
IDA or Grace IDA. That would be fine. And then yeah, hit OK at the bottom. Create repository. And then you can dump your files in here in this repository, Grace. Yeah, you can close this part. Where was it?
And then how do I
Can
get to your GitHub?
you can click on the link that we have in the chat box. Oh, it's not appearing at your end.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, John. Okay, can you
So you have
try
to refresh. I
posting
think
it?
every time you have to refresh.
Yeah, I
Like
think
The
you
you
have,
have
chat?
to,
to refresh.
you have to get out of the chat and then go back into the chat. It's a
Yeah,
weird
click
thing.
that X. Um, click that
Ah,
X at the
okay.
top.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that one. Once you click on that, everything should be in there.
Fit follow.
Yeah, repository is at the top. Yeah, you can follow me. It's all good. Then you should find that
Oh,
repository
funny.
for
It turns out I
IDA.
have Excel.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah,
but why
it's
does
a
it, what does
thing.
it say? What
It's
does
a
it say?
thing.
You cannot open the lesson 2 because the file format is not valid. Has been verified that the file has not been corrupted. Wait, what's going
It's
on?
an Excel file, so you should be able to download that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's not
lesson
when
2.
I try to open it. It's saying like cannot open child because the file format or extension is not valid.
I think what version are you using?
I'm using the 365.
Uh, yeah, let's see. I think Grace can open it. Her computer was able to immediately um identify that it's an Excel file. Let's see. Can you open it, Grace? Can you click on it? Yeah, there we go. Grace can open it, Jeff. I think you have uh Microsoft 365 web version.
No, I downloaded it.
Hmm, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. By the way, yeah, while thinking
Wait,
about
so
it,
basically on GitHub, I just go to your IDA thing and I just right click on it and then just save the link, right?
no, you need to download it,
Yeah, I
Jeff.
know. So right click to
Hmm.
download because if I click it, it's gonna go into the. It's weird because when
Into
I
the file.
Yeah. So when I go into it, it's let's see, view raw. Oh, wait, no, what the heck?
Yeah, at the upper right, there's an option to download.
Upper right.
Yeah, Grace, can
Let
you
me go
click?
ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, can you click on lesson 2 challenge 1?
Challenge 2.
Yeah, challenge 2. Yeah, please click on that. Jeff, you see that raw and that
Oh,
copy?
it's okay. I don't know what it is, but apparently the version I downloaded earlier was not like it was not complete or
Yeah,
something like that. So I had to I
maybe.
just downloaded it and it was fine.
Yeah, maybe there were some issues with the downloading. I think that's the only uh, like
Yeah, like the file became like a
reason
lot
for
bigger
it.
actually. It was weird because the actual file was supposed to be only like 49 KB,
KB?
but the
Oh,
file
no, no,
I
no.
downloaded earlier was
Yeah.
about 389 KB.
Yeah, yeah. I think there were some issues with the downloading. No, you can I share my screen, Grace?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
let
I'm
me
seeing it now.
stop.
Seeing it now.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. If you go back to my Git, you can find the specific how do you call this? You can find the specific directions in what to do with the challenges. Let me go back. If you click on the IDA, you click on this horizontal dots. This would show some descriptions. I added it here so that you can. There's a like a structure to follow, like a steps. So this is what you need to do. It's just about basic formula, guys. Okay. This is for challenge 2 and this is for challenge 1. So you just need to go to this horizontal dots, and then yeah, you can do it offline. I think John would be needing to attend to something. So
And then I'm sorry,
yep.
how do we submit? Is it through GitHub
John,
or?
did you create a Teams section or um maybe
I
you
think
can?
some of the activities should be submitted on the Canvas, but we can. It is better. I think it's better if we will utilize the GitHub if they will create their own repository, and that is where they will dump their
Yeah,
files.
I think so. You just save it in your repository
Yes, and
so that we
then
can practice using
send
it.
us the link of the
Yeah,
of your repository so that is where we will just check the activities.
yeah. So you
Wait,
can
But
the
also
the
check
repository
that.
but
on
the grades
Canvas.
will reflect on the Canvas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Wait, so
that makes
Canvas.
sense.
Let me see. Where is it? Like, where is it?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, this seems like this should have been its own session. When you say send, like by email or on a chat or on Discord, how do we send you the link?
Yeah, I guess this is how we should do it, guys. Um, have you received the Canvas invite in your email?
I have Canvas set up, yes.
Okay. Um, John, can you create an assignment there so that they can let me think. Originally, we submit the outputs in Canvas. However, with GitHub, there would be redundancies in the process. So you'd be uploading it in your repository, and you'll be also submitting it in Canvas.
I don't even know how to
That
go
would be the
back to
case.
mine.
So what we can do is just for your GitHub guys, it would be just your backup so that you have a copy of everything that you did for the course for reference. But for score purposes, you have to submit it via Canvas. Okay.
Okay, so submit it
Okay.
on Canvas after John created the link.
Exactly. Exactly. John would be creating an assignment here. in Canvas, and then the grades would also be posted in there.
I have a
So yeah,
question.
I
When we
think
talk about
mm,
recorded lectures, will they be accessible through GitHub or through Canvas?
yeah, if there's an option, there's a section in Canvas, Grace, wherein the link of the recording is posted. Alternatively, if you go to my GitHub, I created a section
Yeah.
in IDA repository for recording. So once you go here, just paste it in your browser, this link, and it would redirect you to the recordings of the session.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hey
So
Jeff,
for any confusion, guys, I think this is just our second session. We can definitely we'll still encounter some issues with logistics, but
hey,
yeah, I
hey
think
Jeff,
we
quick
just
question.
yep.
For those challenges, I see that like basically the sheet one that has some information. We're not doing anything with the sheet one, right? Or like
Yeah,
catering,
no, that's challenge only.
just the only challenge, right? So for
Yeah,
like lesson two, we don't worry about the catering invoice or catering subtotal. Just only
yeah.
for this challenge.
Yeah, I intended to use that as an example, but unfortunately, we don't have sufficient time to
Okay.
like go over the examples. But anyway, I've included the step-by-step things that you need to do to accomplish the challenges. Those are just simple things, simple formulas. You just have to be careful again. Um, Sometimes we commit mistakes because things are well seems too simple. Be careful still. Okay. So I think yeah, that's all for our session. John, yeah, regarding your schedule, maybe you can just guide them for a few minutes, and then uh just assign a deadline. Maybe before Monday. Before Monday would be the deadline, so that they can like recheck their work. Okay. Just
Okay,
discuss
sir.
it as a group.
I
Okay.
created an assignment lesson to challenge one Excel formula. So
Okay.
can you check if it is visible on your end? Challenge one Excel formula for uh on the canvas assignment.
Um. Yeah. Um. Yeah. For that one, I think the group can figure it out.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. Just want to thank everyone. So hope you learned something new today, and I hope the session was clear. So yeah. On Monday, we'll be discussing aggregations, pivot tables, and those kinds of things. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, guys. Grace, Jeff, Hasiba, Anissa. Thank you,
Um,
guys. Good luck. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank
Y'all have
you.
a good weekend.
have a good weekend, yeah. Hey, John, I don't see the assignment on the my
Canvas. Are you familiar on the canvas environment? Maybe it's better if I will show you some of the
I'm
buttons.
thinking it's because what happened is that I was from the last session, so I like basically the one that got canceled. So I don't think I got another canvas invite, and it was funny because that canvas when I got in there, it looked like as if I was actually never mind. Oh, never mind. I see it. Challenge to do or challenge one.
Ah, okay. You already see it. Okay.
Yeah, and
So I
then
will
challenge two is also part of that, right? I just submitted both on there, right? Or
I will create another assignment for the challenge so that way will be organized.
okay, cool. I'm uploading it right now, so.
Is it?
Um, I don't see any description for the charts.
Description
Excel?
for the charts.
Yes, like which
Okay, let me.
can I share my screen?
Sure, sure.
So I can see this. Can you see?
Not yet. Maybe it's loading.
Can you see?
Yes, I can see it now.
So that's what I see. I don't see any direction or
The direction you can. I also copy and pasted it on the assignment itself. So if you go back on the canvas, you can see the on this challenge it will require us to use basic formulas in Excel. So if you close that one, if you close the file,
okay.
you would see there. Wait, let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
So this is our assignment, right? The challenge one Excel formula. So
Yeah,
this is the things
I
that
don't
you
see
need to
that part.
add this part.
No,
Okay.
I don't see that part. Let me just refresh
Okay.
my camera.
This file
Oh,
only.
yeah, now I see that.
Okay. Okay. So there's no problem. I will upload also the challenge 2 for the Excel formula. The same way as I uploaded this, but on a different assignment so that we would be organized on checking the files.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. How about you, Jeff and Grace?
I'm already done. I'm just waiting for the assignment, the two, so I could.
Okay. So I will upload it real quick. Assignments. And you can do it offline if if you
Yeah, I'm working on the challenge too right now.
assignments.
It's weird because I'm looking at assignments and stuff, and I see like assignments
Challenge 2.
back in the days, like from like January and February. I'm not even enrolled. I don't know what it like. And it's saying that I'm overdue for assignments.
Oh, wait. Maybe you are in the wrong canvas.
No. But then
Or
I saw the assignment you uploaded earlier. But for some reason, other
okay.
people's assignments and stuff are showing up in mine too. Like other people's assignments from like before, and that their
Oh,
attendance.
okay.
Yeah, like
I will check about it.
yeah, it's weird. It's show, like kind of got me confused for a second.
Document, it will upload document. Computer, then challenge 2. File uploads limited. Save and publish. Okay, I just published the challenge 2 Excel formula.
Okay.
Okay, let me know if you can see it. Okay. I saw what yours. Okay, let me
Right.
change
You see
something.
like you see stuff from like other sessions from
Okay.
too. They just leave it there. I think maybe.
So I will just unpublish the other assignments.
I just okay.
Wait, I'm doing something about the previous assignments from the other groups.
Oh,
Okay, now
I think it's fine because now I think I see these assignments that like Oh, you know what? Yeah, I don't see it now.
okay, I just unpublish it now. I will publish it once we have dive into that
Cool. Oh
so
yeah, I
that
think you did something right. Like
yes,
now they're all gone. Just I'm only
so
thinking.
that you will not be confused on the
Ugh,
what assignments must be submitted.
cool.
Okay, local attendance. I think this one you don't need this the roll call attendance, so that I will just remove it
I
also.
appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, so maybe that's it about the challenge 1 and the challenge 2.
Cool. So yeah, so yeah, I'll get it uploaded before Monday. So
Sure.
kick off, right?
And maybe on our next lab session, if all are done on the assignment as well as on the assessment exam on Excel, maybe we can talk about the answers in that. And that would be our agenda for the next lab session, maybe.
Sorry, can you say again, John? What is the topic?
The topic on our next lab session.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe on the next lab session, the only thing that we will do is we will talk about the answers on these challenges and also the answers on the assessment exam about the Excel. So and then after that, um, we can dismiss our meeting after that on the next session. So usually on our cohort, since Excel is somehow uh easier compared to the other topics that we will discuss in this course. It is normal that in Excel we would not be able to use all of our time during the lab sessions.
Right.
Uh, but in the Python, also in the SQL, um, especially on those two, there will be instances wherein 3 hours will not be enough for us to finish as an activity. So that's only for the SQL and the Python, I think. But in the case of the Power BI and Excel, so those two, commonly we would not be able to burn all of the 3 hours. So during those courses, it is common that we can dismiss earlier if we finish all our agenda.
Okay. All right. I have them submitted. I'll see you Monday.
See you. See
Bye.
you. Bye.
All right. See you Monday.
See you. Thank you. Thank you on your time.
So yeah.
You can do the activity offline, Siba.
Yeah, I will, but since I'm very basic, I need some more
Sure,
help
sure,
from
sure.
you.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. We
So
can
can
stay
you
in this
please
meeting.
tell me some about the first challenge? So
Okay,
yeah,
let me open
I'm
it
very
first.
basic.
Sure.
So I
That is
downloaded into an Excel sheet.
So you have already opened the file.
Yes, an
Okay.
Excel sheet.
Let me open first the file that I have. Challenge. Wait, let's see the instructions. On this challenge, it will require us to use basic formulas in Excel. First, click the challenge tab at the bottom left of the workbook. So are you currently on the challenge tab?
Yes.
Okay, so on the challenge tab, and okay, locate the D4 cell.
Um, can you please share your screen so I can see?
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe I can give you some tips about locating specific cell. Okay,
Mhm.
maybe I can perform it into another Excel file so that you can
Okay.
practice it on your um, activity. Okay,
Okay.
so
Thank you.
um, wait, let me open the. So create a formula on the cell D4. So first we need to locate the cell D4. Okay,
Okay.
so D4 is just the intersection of. Do you see that the columns is named as
Yeah.
letters and the rows are named as numbers? So when we say
Yeah.
D4, it is just the intersection of those two.
Okay.
So it intersects in this cell, right? In this cell.
Okay.
And to verify if we are referencing on the correct cell, you can actually see it on the name tab or
Okay.
name bar.
Yeah.
You see
Okay.
here, D4. Or for
Yes.
example, you have a lot of data and for example, it is very hard to locate, for example, a Z23, right? So
Mhm.
it would take us time to scroll on that part, especially if you are handling a big data. You can
Okay.
see it that the naming of the columns are becoming complicated. AM and then say 546. So instead of doing that, if you want to go to the D4, you can directly edit the name box and say
Okay.
D4. And when you click
Before. Okay.
enter, yes, when you click enter, you would be automatically directed to that cell.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so we are on the D4, right? Now, we need to create a formula that multiplies quantity in B4 by the price per unit in cell C4. So you need to multiply the thing on the B4 to the thing on the C4. Okay, so let me give you an example of that. So let's say I want to create a formula on D4. We can create a formula by starting our typing by an equal sign. If Excel see equal sign on our cell, okay, it would assume automatically that we are creating a formula.
Okay.
And by this, we can do some basic calculations like directly typing, for example, 5 plus 10. And when you hit
Okay.
enter, it will give you the answer. So how can we utilize that um, property? Let's say I have numbers here. Let's say I will uh, type a number on this cell. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here, I will type a formula equal. Let's say I want to add all of this just for an
Okay.
example. So I can say I can do it this way. Let's say 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, right? And I would get 20. So you can directly type the numbers. But instead of doing that, much efficient way to do it is by, so after you type the equal sign, you can call this to by directly clicking it,
Okay.
right? And as you can see,
Mhm.
it gives us a value of B2. So going back to the thing that we have discussed earlier, B2 is referencing to the B column, row 2. So that is actually pertaining to this number 2 on the cell
Okay.
B2, right? So if you want to add something to B2, you can type plus and then click the other cell that you want to add. Let's say this one. It is now
Okay.
B3. And then you can just repeat that process. And let's say you want minus, you can type dash. Okay, so you can click 5. And then, for example, you want division, you can click the slash and you click the other number. So if you want multiplication, you can do it by asterisk.
Okay.
Okay. And then let's say B2 multiplied by B3. Let's say if you would get 6. Now you would see if your referencing is correct. The color of B2 is blue and the color of the cell is also highlighted as blue, right? So it means
Yes.
that we are referencing with this two. So based on their colors. If you hit enter, you would see that we got 6,
Yeah.
right? And for
Mhm.
example, you want to edit the formula, you can go to this formula bar. This part is called formula bar. You can directly edit it. Let's say um B3 is not the one that you want to multiply. You want B4. So you can delete the B3 and you can click B4. And
Okay.
then if you are done, click enter. So you can directly edit it here, or another way is by double clicking the cell that you just used as a reference in the calculation. So I can double click this and let's say I want the B3, this one. So you can delete the B4 and you can click the B3 cell. Or instead of doing that, I can just manually type B3 and it will automatically reference to this cell.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Got it.
So okay, so another thing is maybe it is the best way for us to expand the things that was discussed on the latter part of the discussions of our instructor, like on the grouping.
Yeah.
So on the grouping, um, yep, basically the same thing as discussed a while ago. But for example, you want to subtract first these two numbers, or okay, these two numbers, subtract them first, and then after that, you will add it to the whatever number is on the B4. So you need to group them. So you can think of it as you want to calculate first what will be the result of B2 minus B3, and then whatever the result of that will be added to the B4. So it is like step by step process. It is not
Okay.
re- it is not being read as directly from left to right. It is actually read
Okay.
as let's say PEMDAS this way. So are you familiar with this term?
No,
So maybe it
I'm
is
not
somehow
familiar.
familiar, but it is PEMDAS is an acronym for
Okay.
parentheses, okay,
Okay.
exponent, so multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Subtraction. So um Excel actually follows this pattern, PEMDAS. If it's so It will prioritize all of the in the calculations. It will prioritize first all the parentheses, and then the next one is exponent. And then if there are no parentheses, if there are no exponents, it will now prioritize multiplication. So if you want to prioritize something first, you can use parentheses. Okay, let's apply that in an example. Suppose I want to add first this two, let's say 4, and then this 6. And then whatever the number of that, I want them to be divided by this number. Okay, so
Okay.
since this part is in the parentheses, it will be prioritized first. So the solution would be B4 plus B6, and then whatever the value, it will be divided to B2. So the
Okay.
result would be 5. Now let's try to remove the parentheses. So I clicked B4 and then I
B4.
added it by B6, right? And
B6,
then
yes.
I divided it by B2.
B2.
Okay, so following the PEMDAS. So what is the priority now? The priority now is the division. Division comes first before the addition. So
Okay.
this one will be performed first, and then whatever the result of that will be added to B4. Because division comes first before the addition. So that is the fundamental thing that we need to understand. Even though we are referencing on the same cells, you can see here, they are referencing to B2, B4, B6. But with the power of the parentheses, you can see we got the different results. So this one doesn't have any parentheses. That's why it prioritized the division. Here,
Okay.
it contains parentheses. That's why even if it is an addition, since it is enclosed in a parentheses, it was prioritized instead of the division. So that's the key idea there. So the one that I put on the chat box somehow summarizes the discussion. So A minus B plus C with this kind of grouping will give us different results compared to A minus B plus C. So you can think of A, B, and C as cell names on the Excel. Okay, so you can think of it as individual cells. So let's say this cell plus this cell divided by this cell. When grouping comes, so it will affect our result. So let's look on that.
Okay.
So the point is proper grouping matters in Excel. Okay, so maybe this part you can do it. This part, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
on the cell D4, you just need to multiply whatever is on the B4 and
B4.
C4.
Yeah.
Yes.
B4.
And then after
Okay.
that, use the fill handle to copy formula in cell D4 to cells D5 to D7. Okay, let's talk about the fill handle. The fill handle is um it is the small square like something on the bottom right corner of each cell. So let's say I click on this part. Do you see
Mhm.
this? This
Yes.
somehow my
Yes.
cursor changes form, right?
Yes.
And I can actually drag it this way.
Yes.
Okay. So using that idea, um let's say I have a formula here. I have a formula here. Focus before I drag this button. Before I drag the fill handle, notice that on cell E4 we have a formula, right? It contains a
Yes.
formula. And then on cell oops, Let me reverse that. On cell E5, we don't have any formula. We did not put any formula in this, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if I selected this and I use the fill handle to drag it this way, you can see that I can
Yes.
drag it this way. It automatically give us values.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
So these things somehow copies the formula that is present on this cell. So
Okay.
focus.
E4.
Before B6, B2. Now we drag it once. It is now B5. No. In this cell, notice that it became B5, B7, and B3. A while ago,
Okay.
it is B4, B6, and B2, right? Now we drag
Right.
it one. So the number, the row, added 1 also. So it is referencing now to B7, B3, and B5. Another thing
Okay.
is this one, since from this, we drag it twice, that's why from B4, B6, and B2, it became now B6, B8, and B4. So we can somehow do it for automation. Like you don't actually need to type the formula again if you just want to do the same calculation as the others, right?
Okay.
So let's go here. On the challenge, I think based on how I understand it, you just on this D4, you want to calculate this times this,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
you need to repeat it for this and this, and the answer
Okay.
should appear on here. And
Okay.
you need to
Yeah,
repeat
I
the
got.
process. And but using the fill handle, it somehow gives you the idea that whatever the
Okay.
formula here, if I
Yeah.
drag it this way, like this,
Yeah.
the calculation here will be copied on the next cells.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
it
got it. Thank
mm,
you so much. Yeah.
another thing is change the price per unit for the fried plants and cell C6. So here you are changing something. So
Okay.
this one is somehow easy because you just need to locate C6 and change it to 225.
Okay.
So for example here, let's say this one B2. I want to change it to something. So just click B2 and directly type. Let's say I want 2 to be changed into 5. So I change it
Okay.
into 5. Now I
Yeah.
will hit enter. Notice that it changed into
Yeah.
5. Not only this cell, but
Yeah.
also the other cells that are referencing to this, right?
Yeah.
So also
Yes.
this. So let's go back from 2. The values here are 5 and 7. But since I changed it into 5, it
Yeah.
is now 2 and 5.2 because Excel doesn't really care on whatever is the value of B2. But
Okay.
so Excel will look at B2. It will perform you whatever calculation you want. It will not care whatever the value of the B2 is. As long as it is a legit value, numerical value, it will perform this. So if this is a 2, it will perform. If this is a 5, it will also perform. And whatever the result, you can automatically see it.
Okay.
So on that case, the C6, right? You need to locate it. So just the intersection of the cells, or you can just directly type here C6. And since it is now referencing to C6, you can just directly type whatever the
Okay.
value you want to replace it with. And here just notes that we have already observed. Notice that
Yeah.
the line total automatically changes as well. the same idea as what happened here, where when I change this
Number, yeah.
cell, yes, it automatically affected all the cells that are referencing to it. You can think of it as referencing. When I say referencing, it means that this cell is dependent to whatever the value of this cell. And
Okay.
it, yes. So whatever the change on this highlighted cells, okay, it will automatically affect those that are dependent to it. So
Okay.
so this cell D4 is dependent to B2, B4, and B6. So whoever of these three change, D4 will also change. So let's try. Let's say the 6, I change it to 10. Notice that it
Yeah.
changed. But if it is not dependent to that cell, let's say B5, if I change this to, let's say, 100, whatever the value of that, this part will not change because it is not
Yeah.
referencing to this. But notice that this one changed because this actually not referencing to this. So
Okay.
so I think those are the things that you need
Yeah, I'll practice.
to understand on the Excel, and if you completely get that, it would be easier for the next sessions. I I
Yeah.
I I can assure you that because I think on the next sessions it is all about the referencing. Okay, so
Okay.
also on the formulas and what else? Edit the formula for the total in cell D8 so that it also adds D7. So D8, to locate it, just do the same thing that we have discussed. But D8 is here. Ups. Sometimes my Excel is acting weird. So notice that D8, to determine that whatever to determine where are the references of this, I can double click it. Notice that it just highlights the first three, right?
Yeah.
But what about the fourth one? So that is the problem that you need to solve. So this cell
Okay.
that you can see here, you need to add it, but how? So
Okay.
we already talked about it a while ago
Okay. Yeah.
on the
Yeah, I
example.
got it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Thank you so
and
much.
what else? Maybe on the challenge too. For now, I will leave it to you as practice. Okay, let me check first the instructions on the challenge too, and let's see if there are other things that I need to explain. Okay, in cell D7, so it is about this cell. It is about this Excel file. In
Okay.
cell D7, create a formula that calculates the tax for the invoice. So the tax rate is 7.5%. So you can imagine it this way, that there is some percentage here. So I can click it this way. Oops, that is outrageously big. So there is a cell that contains but what is this? There is a cell that contains a percentage, which is the tax. And there is an initial value, let's say 100. Now, you need to calculate in this particular cell the um wait, formula that finds the total for the order. This formula should add cells at least 7 to 8. Okay. So this one is for adding only this part.
Okay.
And then until cell D9, you need to create a formula that calculates the discount. So how are we discounting something? Let's say your bill is 100. And when we say
Mhm.
10% discount, what would be the final price?
90 though.
90, right?
90.
So you need to think of a formula in which when you type 100, the result will be 90. Okay?
Mm.
So I think that part will be the only challenge. But the
Okay.
referencing, the adding, the multiplication part, you can do it. The
Okay.
challenge left is the discount.
Okay.
Okay.
So it
So
doesn't need just right away I send my assignment. I can take my time and send it.
yes, you can take your time.
Yeah.
It's due on Monday, I think 2022 or 23. So I'm not
Oh
sure of.
yeah, I can do it. I can do it tonight.
Mm,
So my time zone is
then
different than yours if
yes,
you're
yes,
living
yes.
in. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we are on the same country as our instructor. So
Okay.
so it is currently, as you can see on my screen, it is 3:30 a.m. on our country.
Okay. Yeah. Mine is 3:30 p.m.
Mm. So we are completely on the different side of the globe.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that our technology allows us to talk
Yeah.
in these kinds of stuffs, even though we are on the completely different side of the planet. So maybe that's it. And
Yeah. Thank you so much.
if
Appreciate your help.
you for instance that you are stuck or you need a help on something, you can contact me on Discord. Are you part of the Discord?
Um, no,
Oh,
Discord.
not yet. I will send the invitation on the chat box again. You can just click it, and
Okay.
I think
So I have
you
your email as well.
yes, you can message me also on there, but I suggest and email me on the Discord because the
Okay.
students, that is where they commonly send me a message. You
Sure.
can message me on Discord personally so that I
Okay.
can give you some tips or I can
Sure.
answer your specific questions. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
maybe
Now I
that's
have it. Yeah.
okay. Sure.
Thank you so much.
So sure. See you on
Yeah.
our next meetings. Thank you.
Yeah. See you.
Bye.